was these two products, a committed group of people, and look how people are getting together for one vision, one mission. And for those of you that are brand new, that are looking at us for the first time, the reason why you were invited today is because the individual that told you about this cares about you. They wanted to share with you something here that has changed their life. And also, we want to go on to spread this with others. So think about it right now, guys. My childhood growing up was every single member in my family was diabetic. Coming downstairs, my kitchen used to smell like insulin from my grandmother and my dad injecting insulin every day since I can remember. Anyone know that you know what I'm talking about? That smell of insulin? It's like pungent, right? And going to the doctors, I was always a chubby kid. You know, in recess, I was picked last for basketball, everything because I was chubby. Tag, I was always chosen first, so nobody could catch me for the rest of the recess. I was that chubby kid. And going to the doctor, I was always told, you're going to be diabetic because diabetes runs in your family. And every few months, I'd hear this uncle died of heart disease, this uncle died of that, this aunt died of that. And in fact, my grandparents lost all their siblings to heart disease. And I just want to ask a simple question right now in this room. If you have a family member with cholesterol, weight problems, diabetes, cholesterol, raise your hand. Keep your hand up, guys, look around. This is insane. And if I ask the same question in 1951, 2% of the room would raise their hand. In fact, diabetes, according to the CDC, in 1951 was 0.59% of the population. So if diabetes actually ran genetic, 0.59% of the population should have diabetes right now. But it's one of the fastest growing diseases in the world. And even if you're not diabetic, there's something called insulin resistance and prediabetes, which most of us are struggling with. And we might not have any idea, but this was me. So I had gone to Western. I was born in an Indian household, and I was told you got to be a doctor, you have no option. So, with that route, doctor's the only box I was put in. So I went to Western, I did kinesiology. I'm going to go study to become a doctor. And kinesiology, for those of you who don't know, is pretty much the study of the human body and human movement. And I specialize in exercise nutrition. I had learned about good eating, good health, all that stuff. And despite all that, that's what I look like. On the left, I was dealing with man boobs, belly fat, fat around the neck, where I would snore uncontrollably, which now we know sleep apnea. Anytime I'd go to the washroom, anytime I'd eat, I'd have to go to the washroom. So I stopped going to restaurants with my girlfriend because I knew I'd have to go to the washroom and CMI, but a lot of us are going through it, it was water. And I'd keep going to the doctors and say, something's going on, and they say, you're young, you have fast metabolism. Now, and this was in 2012, 2010, 2009. Now we know it's called IBS. A lot of people are dealing with it. My wife was starting to get irregular cycles, irregular periods, acne on her face, and doctors put her on birth control. Now we know it's called PCOS. And had we gone down that road, I would have probably developed diabetes, she would have developed PCOS, and we would have been the exact same as our parents, and diabetes and all cholesterol runs in our family. But because of these products you're going to learn about today, not only did you can see the after photo right here, not only did the products change my life, but even family members. So this was my grandmother in 2014. I just proposed to my girlfriend. We went to India to go see my grandmother. But you can see the belly fat, the arthritis in the hands, the fat around the neck, and she had heart disease, diabetes, A1C 6.7, and at 2014, you guys can see it says 2014, right up there. 2014, all 8 of her brothers and sisters were alive. Today, they're all dead. From what? Diabetes and heart disease. My grandmother would not be living today, but because she got in the exact products you're learning about, that's her today. No longer diabetic. Her A1C is 5.2. You can see the belly fat gone, the arthritis improved, the fat on the neck gone. She's on, I think she's on, I think she's on one medication on that. That's just because she's 84 years old.
Excellent.
And she had 3 blockages in her arteries. All the blockages are cleared up. Thank you. And because of this product, she's able to play with her great granddaughter. She's able to play with her great grandchildren. And when I look at what happened to my family, I started thinking, wow, this actually saved my family's life. I can go through more stories. My uncle's leg was supposed to be amputated. The product saved his leg from being amputated. My dad was on 200 units of insulin, came down to pretty much no insulin. And no one in my family, guys, doing keto or counting calories or F45. They're eating the same food they were eating before. I'm Indian, man. You know why Christopher Columbus loves Spain? Looking for Indian food. Like, I ain't gonna stop eating Indian food. So at the end of the day, in my family, I saw that they can just add 2 products into their lifestyle, keep eating the same food, and they were reversing their health issues. And it got me thinking, wait, why aren't the doctors telling us about this? And as I looked into it, my background, I actually got into med school. A doctor is an MD, Doctorate of Medicine. So they spend 4 years learning about drugs. Now, I'm not downing doctors. If you have a heart attack, you break your arm, yes, doctor, emergency medicine will save your life. But when it comes to lifestyle medicine, think about it. You go to your doctor, I don't feel good. I have low energy. Here's an antidepressant. Doctor, I'm losing weight. I can't lose weight. I have belly fat. Here's an injection. How does this make any sense? You guys agree with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
In fact, the doctor themselves look sick. And like, wait, doesn't make any sense. Right? So at the end of the day, I saw that, okay, this product has saved my family's life. There's abundance of science behind this product. This isn't some Mickey Mouse product that's being made in in someone's basement and being marketed. They've sold billions of dollars of this product, but no one in North America knew about it. And anytime I would talk to people about it, maybe this is your perception. Oh, it's a pyramid. It's this. It's pyramid. I was like, what? The product? There's a real product here. I'm not talking about investment opportunity. And so second was I was raised by a single mom, and we were okay until my parents were together. But when my parents went through a divorce, a single mom running the house on a government salary, and things are becoming more expensive. Way things happening to our quality of life. It's getting harder and harder and harder. My mom's pulling out a line of credit to make sure she can run the family, trying to put me and my sister through school. And all I wanted to do, guys, was to be rich. I'm going to be frank. I mean, some people have a weird association with that, but I mean, I don't know. Money is just as important as oxygen. Go try to say out there, I don't want money. Like, you're not going to live. So at the end of the day, I just want to be rich, take care of my family. What I saw here was a product that, one, changed my family's life. But two, I saw that there's a business model that allows the average person to build wealth without debt. What do I mean by that? In the last few years, a lot of us have made a lot of money, maybe buying a home, real estate, but all that wealth you've accumulated is on paper. You can't pay your bills with it. You can't go grocery shopping with it. Am I right? Unless you pull a line of credit, but you're just pulling debt on your asset. What I saw here is you're able to build a cash flow business without debt, a franchise business, because franchising is how you build wealth. Look at anyone that's rich in Toronto. They run a franchise. They don't own a franchise. I'm not talking about the guy that bought Subway and making subs. I'm talking about the owners of Subway, the owners of Uber, the owners of Airbnb, the founder of Remax. These are billionaires. Osmos became rich once he started franchising. Would you agree?
Yes.
Not selling shawarmas in Streetsville. So when I saw that you can build a franchise business here without debt, without capital, without overheads, and have a product that's actually changing the world, we came up with a game plan, and the game plan was this. There are 15 million people in Ontario. And as you're sitting through this presentation, I just want you to think about one question. Is there a market for 1% to use this product you're going to learn about? That's all you want to ask yourself. Is there a market for 1%? Does 1% know about it yet? No. Last year in Toronto, we were at 300 people using the product. In Ontario, I keep saying Toronto, but Torontonians think Canada's Toronto. Right? So Ontario, there's 300 people. Right now, there's 15,000 in a year and a half. So where do you think we're headed? 1%. Now, here's why 1% matters to all of us. How many times have we seen companies grow? Apple, Uber, Amazon, Nvidia. How many of you got rich from it? And I'm pretty sure all of you sent Uber codes to all your friends. They used us to build their network, but they became rich. And the difference with this business is the revenue that's paid from this, 56% is paid out back to the people. So there's no shareholders here, there's no investors, there's no venture capitalists, there's no Dragon's Den, there's no Shark Tank. It's a family that runs the business. They manufacture the products and they say, hey, we're going to give 56% back to you to build the organization. And that means that 56% by hitting the 1% number is $180 million that's shared per year to the team here in Toronto. So I want you to ask yourself, how much do you want a year? 10,000 a year? 12,000 a year? That's 1,000 a month. 24,000 a year? That's 2,000 a month. 100,000 a year, 500,000 a year, 1 million a year, 5 million a year, 10 million a year. Everyone, all those numbers I mentioned, people in this office are doing those numbers. So it's possible. And here's the best part. No one in this office works for anyone. We're all on the equal opportunity versus in a job, do you guys get the same compensation as your boss? No, the guy above you always makes more. Here, every partner in the organization is on the exact same compensation plan. I've never seen a business model like that. So I started building the business. I started building it seriously in 2018. In 2018, I grew this business. It was 2,000-3,000 a month. 2019, 5,000-6,000 a month. 2020, 10,000 a month. From 2025 to 2021, I haven't made less than $10 million a year with this business. Because of this business, I have been able to retire my family, take care of my whole family, retire my mom. And my mom got $2 million last year. She no longer works a government job. Our whole family has changed completely. But I'm not sharing that to show off. I'm sharing that to tell you, in 2017, I was driving Uber. And if I can go from being an Uber driver, med school dropout, to building this business, it's not that I was lucky. I wasn't first. None of that. At the end of the day, it was the product is amazing and there's a real need for this product in our world. And if we can get a committed group of people to see this, we can change the world. So what we have today for you guys is we do this once a month type thing where we get some of the top healthcare professionals in the city to talk about the science of how the product works. So anyone here that's skeptical, they want to do research, I mean, this is the best research you can do. You got a medical doctor who's going to be talking about this product, Dr. Chauhan. You got an ICU nurse, ex-ICU nurse. She used to work at Brandon Civic Hospital, ended up building this, ended up losing 50 pounds of the product, saw her mom reverse her rheumatoid arthritis and diabetes, said, hey, this is amazing. Started building a business to where last year her and her family made over $600,000 with this business. She's not a nurse anymore. And then we have Phil Sung, clinical nutritionist, who started off as a nutritionist, running a nutrition practice, originally reached out saying, hey, I want to help my clients with this, to where she was able to build a business where not only was she able to retire, earn 6 figures a month, but her mom, who was a bus driver, 64 years old, has been able to retire from driving a bus and is now building her dream home in Kenya. And this past winter was the first winter she didn't have to shovel the snow in the mornings to drive the bus. At 64 years old. And how did her mom get involved? She reversed her cholesterol and thyroid, high blood pressure, and said, hey, I want to help our community. So with that being said, I want you to think about 2 things as you're listening to this presentation. 1, does the product work? 2, is there a market for 1%? And 3, how much of that $180 million a year do you want? And so what we're going to do is we're going to spend the first 20, 30 minutes talking about the science of the product. And then I would hold questions till the end. Then we have an individual who's going to be teaching about the business plan. Now, the guy who's teaching about the business plan, his name is Mahit. He's been a very successful real estate entrepreneur, one of the top in the East End, but realized in real estate, he's burnt out because every year he has to restart. Every year he has to restart. His kids don't see him, his family doesn't see him. And so he got on the product, lost 57 pounds on the product, reversed his fatty liver, understood the business model about the duplication franchising aspect, and in 2 months has built a six-figure business with this business. That means 6 figures in revenue, over 20,000 a month in revenue, 30,000 a month in more than that, 35, 40,000 a month in revenue in a matter of 2.5, 3 months. So you're learning from individuals that have changed their life with the product, but also are starting to change their life with the business. And hey, look, at the end, if this isn't for you, the doors are locked coming in, they're open going out. All right? If you got to use a washroom, feel free to get up, use the washroom. The code for the washroom is 153. But pay attention, take notes, and hold your questions till the end. And hopefully at the end, you see this and we can get together and make life better as a team. So I want to start off the meeting by introducing Dr. Chauhan.
Do I just start off screaming away?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Room is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Samaric Chauhan. I'm also known as Dr. C on social media because these guys push me to go on social media. Before that, I never existed on social media. Okay. So my name is Dr. Samaric Chauhan. I am a medical outpost in villages to give villagers access to health care. That's just one of my aspects. I was also a former teaching doctor at Larkin Community Hospital in Miami, where I used to teach resident doctors, clinical research, and I was a part of the Miami Beach Community Health Center team as well. All right, so what brought me into the business? Sandeep, should we do my pregnancy pictures? Yeah, okay. All right, so that was me when I was expecting triplets, all right? And this is me after the product. That is the change that you're going to see. So let's go through this, all right? I had, over the years of doing my work, right, I working in medicine, I had developed high blood pressure, high cholesterol, right? I was pre-diabetic, and I was 240 pounds. My knees hurt. I couldn't play with my kids. I was depressed. I was suffering from anxiety, all right? And our doctors have doctors. So my family physician, Thomas, was like, I can't even get you on the meds because you're a doctor. You know what the side effects are, right? And I go, exactly. If I'm going to heal myself, I'm going to do it naturally because I know what the medications do. I know. You're a doctor, right? Yeah. Okay. And you're a doctor. Okay. You know what the side effects are, right? And it's one thing that I always remember. One thing I remembered from medical school, one of my teachers, always used to say, yeah, if you take this medication, 2% of the population is going to get that side effect. If you take the medication, maybe you're going to get that side effect. Only 3% of the population gets the side effect. But if you get that side effect, it's 100%. You're a mess. You're done, right? So what ends up happening is I went on the product and all my labs went to normal. I no longer have high cholesterol. I no longer have high blood pressure. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. And I went from 240 pounds to 190. But that's when I last weighed myself. I must be less than that because I keep putting holes in my belt. Okay? All right. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So the issue is that now we have a diabetes specialist here tonight, okay? And the thing is that diabetes, what they don't tell you is that diabetes is a gradual disease. It's a gradual onset. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen the moment that you walk into your doctor's office and they suddenly say, hey, your fasting blood glucose is abnormal. It's too high. Maybe we should check your HbA1c as well, right? No, it's a gradual process that builds up over years and years. And the problem is that we as doctors were never advised to advise our patients to do lifestyle modification, to change their diet, to look into treating themselves naturally and treating the source and not just the symptoms. You see, the problem that we have in the medical world is that when we were studying in medical school, all of our textbooks, when we used to go through them, you would see, etiology of disease, okay? And then, these are the clinical signs and symptoms, this is what we're gonna do. And then they just list us the medications. And that was it. Oh, some side effects, right? But that was it. It's not necessarily the doctor's fault. They have been indoctrinated by a system that has brainwashed us and kept the knowledge away from us. Because before Big Pharma became Big Pharma, how did people survive? How did people survive? You look at, ancient Chinese medicine. You look at Ayurveda, the ancient Indian form of medicine. You go to Africa, you go to Europe, and ancient forms of medicine existed. People survived for thousands of years. Have I lost you guys? Because everyone's really quiet. Okay? All right. Good. I just want to make sure everyone has a pulse. All right. Vital signs, please. Okay, so the thing is that there was ancient forms of medicine, and there was a deep-rooted understanding of the human body. The human body has the capacity to heal itself if it is given the right tools and the right nutrition. And you'll be surprised at what we can overcome. You can be surprised. Am I not saying right? Yeah? Okay. So medications, like I said, they're treating the signs and symptoms, okay? They're not treating the root cause. And it's time the medical world wakes up and we go back to the origins of medicine and start treating the root cause, okay? The message doesn't reach the frontline healthcare practitioners. True, I just talked about it. We've been indoctrinated in medical schools to think one way, and they've taken away from our minds the concept of keeping our minds open and thinking outside the box and saying, you know what? How do people survive for thousands of years when this medication didn't even exist? And why are chronic illnesses on the rise? Why? Nobody asked these questions. Well, at least not in the medical world. Some physicians are. And I'm really glad that we're going through a healthcare revolution where doctors are waking up to this. And the sad part is, doctors who were talking about this in the 70s and the 80s, their research was brushed under the carpet, right? It was not brought to anyone's attention. Okay, and then insulin-lowering strategies. Instead of popping pills, instead of constantly giving medications, why can't we start understanding the impact? Endocrinology is a vast topic, and we don't have time tonight to get into it. But it's a beautiful symphony of hormones and different pathways all working together to give you the best health possible, to keep your body functioning, right? And when those hormones and those pathways go out of whack, and even if one of them, insulin being a big one, if it goes out of whack, guess what? The whole system goes out of whack and your body stops functioning the way it was supposed to. And then we start going to the pharmacology cocktails. Oh, I'm gonna give you a medication for this. Oh, now you're experiencing this side effect? Let's put on another medication. Let's put on another medication, which reminds me again of my medical school. I remember my professors always telling me, beware of the pharmacological cocktail. Beware of that. And if you see a patient on too many meds, start figuring out why those medications were added, what we can take off, and how can we get to the root cause of the problem, okay? Let's go to the next slide. All right, so over here is telling us that we're facing, an epidemic, right? Look at this, type 2 diabetes on track to surge 700% in young Americans. It's an epidemic, it's a pandemic actually. We already went through one pandemic, but we have this one that has been brushed under the carpet that we are not cluing into. It's not just in America, it's here. You just talked about being Indian, I'm Indian. Man, type 2 diabetes in India, it should be declared the national sport because almost everyone is trying to become a type 2 diabetic. I have argued with so many of my relatives, about changing their diet, and I've started talking to them about the products. right? Because I'm like, you want to stay on that diet? You want to keep putting that stuff in your mouth? Guess what? Please just take these products. It will change your life. But it is a pandemic. Now over here, this is an old slide from 2019, all right? We have it says 9 out of 10 top diseases are lifestyle related and preventable. Okay, it says 9 out of 10. Guess what? It's 10 out of 10. Because when we talk about lower respiratory infections, insulin resistance will affect your immune system. And I will repeat that. Insulin resistance will affect your immune system, right? The impact of insulin resistance is so huge that your body gets affected in so many different categories. Whether we are talking about, it's going to make you prone to strokes, it's going to make you prone, obviously, to diabetes, right? Type 2, and we're going to get into that as well. Why is it called type 1 and type 2? But the fact is that it will lower your immunity. And if your immune system is gone, what does that open up to? An invasion of different infections, okay? And that's why we see a lot of diabetics. I remember working in a diabetic hospital. And when they would have to remove, they'd have to do cuts to remove rotting flesh off their feet. It was horrific. It was just like and the smell and the stench. But nobody was getting down to the root cause. What should we do to reverse the issue, right? Next slide. Okay, so it's all about your metabolism. It's all about your gut health. You're talking about it now like, oh, gut health, it's your second brain. Ooh, gut health, blah, blah, blah. We've known this for thousands of years. That's where the saying comes from. You are what you eat. I remember when I was a kid, we used to say, oh yeah, I ate a Twinkie. It must be a Twinkie. But you know what? It's almost true. Because the Twinkie was one of the worst things you could eat. It was full of chemicals. Is it your fault that your health has been messed up? No. One of my colleagues tonight, she will be going into that about the food industry. And the fact that we were being fed food that doesn't have nutrition in it. We were being fed food that is full of chemicals that we can't even pronounce. And the damage it's doing. So you are what you eat. Yes, if you are incorporating, food and medications into your system, it is going to throw your system out of whack. You will be surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised anymore, but ever since joining this team, but you'll be surprised at the impact that food and medications have on your gut health, and in turn, throws your hormones out of whack, and in turn, brings you to the doorstep of insulin resistance, all right? Over here, it says 88% of adults are metabolically unhealthy, right? So let's go through this list. Increased waist circumference. You remember my photo when I was pregnant, right? It's okay, you can laugh. I'm not that fragile, right? Okay, increased waist circumference, right? Increased glucose, abnormal fasting blood glucose levels, increased blood pressure, increased triglycerides, which means high cholesterol, right? And we're talking about LDLs and triglycerides, which are your bad cholesterols, and decreased HDL cholesterol, which is actually your good cholesterol, is cardioprotective. These are metabolic markers for metabolic syndrome, okay? It says here 88% of adults are metabolically unhealthy. That's not true. The number is a lot higher. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Number one, men are taught to be strong and ignore the symptoms. Oh, you're a tough guy. You're a man. Just tough it out, right? No. That's why, with that attitude, a lot of men do not go and get themselves checked out. Male privacy issues. Got to keep it to myself, got to be strong. Females, busy lifestyle, and many of them are trying to, do their career and take care of the family at the same time. They don't have time to take care of themselves, Ask any professional woman, or even not just professional women, even ask housewives. That's a job in itself, one of the toughest jobs possible. So people are going undiagnosed. It has become a huge epidemic. It is something that we need to address. And if we can address the root cause, guess what? We can revolutionize medicine to get back to its roots, to get back to treating the cause and not just the symptoms. Let's go to the next slide. Have I lost you guys? Okay, all right. Okay. So, okay, I was waiting for this slide. Calorie is just a calorie. Nonsense. Calories in equals calories out. Nonsense. Why? There was a research study done in the 70s. In the 70s, and you can still get a hold of this research paper, and it was brushed under the carpet. Do we have a marker? Do we have a marker here? Yeah, okay, all right. So what they did was in this study, okay? In this study, I'm just gonna go really quickly into this, all right? I'm just trying to simplify it as much as possible, right? They had a group of mice, okay? They had a group of mice, and they were studying whether or not doing a calorie deficit or, cutting down the number of calories actually would affect the weight, right? Okay. So they had two groups. They had a normal group, and they had one that had a mutation on the leptin hormone, okay, on the leptin gene, okay, which is a hormone. And they fed both groups the same amount of calories, So they restricted it because if they did not, so this group, right, because without the leptin hormone, they don't get a signal to their brain telling. I'm trying to simplify this and stay away from medical terms. That's why, okay? So. So what ends up happening is the leptin hormone is one of the signals that tells your brain, I've had too much to eat. I shouldn't eat anymore. But these mice, they had a mutation, so their leptin was not working. They were leptin deficient, okay? So they said, okay, so they're leptin deficient, so they don't know when to stop eating. That's why they get fat. So we'll do a calorie restriction and study it. You guys following me, or have I lost you? Okay, good, all right. So they did a calorie deficit, right? So they restricted the calories. So they gave both groups the same diet, and they made sure the exact same diet, and they made sure that they restricted the calories because they wanted to see that if we restrict the calories for these guys, they should not gain weight. Guess what? Didn't work. You can restrict the calories. You can restrict the calories all you want. You can do that whole calories in, calories out, and all that crap. But your hormones tell you how to use the calories. And these guys, even though they were on the exact same diet, on a calorie-restricted diet, they ended up being 5 times more in weight than the normal mice. So what does that tell you? Your hormones are controlling your body. And if you have insulin resistance, your hormones are out of whack. And if your hormones are out of whack, your pathways are out of whack. And when I said that endocrinology was a symphony, imagine going to a symphony and everyone's just playing whatever the hell they want and they don't listen to the conductor. Okay? All right? That's what's happening. All right, next. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Really? Okay, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. When you were eating your Doritos at 2 a.m. watching Netflix, did you give your body enough time to digest, metabolize? You see, everyone's body chemistry and metabolism is different. That's something I tell everybody who goes onto the product. Do not mirror yourself to somebody else's results. This is your journey. This is actually a spiritual journey. And the reason why I call it a spiritual journey is because when you begin to heal yourself, you become more in tune with who you are. And then when you become more in tune with who you are, you become more in tune with your surroundings and nature. It is a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual journey of healing and realizing the power of the human body. Okay? So when we talk about breakfast first thing in the morning, you need to give your body time to relax. If you keep it in a constant state of being fed, how do you expect to burn off what you had just ate at 2 a.m. watching Netflix? Who watches Netflix here, by the way? Who eats Doritos? There you go. I'm glad people are honest, right? Do you give your body enough time to burn off those Doritos when you're sitting there watching Netflix? Absolutely not. And when your ancestors were alive, Were they eating Doritos and watching Netflix? No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Your ancestors, I'm not talking about 100 years ago, I'm not talking about, let's go way back when they were hunters and gatherers. They would hunt and they would eat. And maybe they wouldn't find food for, another day or two. But guess what? They were healthy as hell, man. Those people were ripped, okay? They had the bodies that we wanted, right? But that's because they did not constantly shove food in their mouth, because we've been brainwashed by an industry. And don't make me go down the rabbit hole. If you study the history of medicine, which I did at University of Toronto, it's shocking. It's shocking to see how medicine changed over the years. That was an eye-opening course. It was. It was, because the way we were taught, the way our grandparents, our great-grandparents ate, and then the food industry comes in and starts dictating to us and telling us and brainwashing us, oh, you need to have a sugary breakfast in the morning, first meal of the day. You don't. You don't. You need to allow your body to relax. You need to allow the insulin to come back down to a normal level. If you keep revving your engine in the parking lot, what's going to happen to the engine of your car? It's going to burn out. So your body is a machine. Your body is a machine. Why are you revving up the engine? Why do you want to burn out your body? Okay. All right. Have I lost you guys? Okay, just gonna make sure, okay? You're paying attention, yeah, I'm just regularly checking on vitals, okay, just to make sure everyone's here, okay? Okay, oh yeah, and why do I wear a stethoscope, all right? I don't wear it to show off. I wear it because I became a doctor to help people. I became a doctor to end people's suffering, Some heroes go out there with a sword in their hands. When I took up this stethoscope, I took an oath not to profit off of people's suffering, but to end their suffering. And when this team called me on board with them, it was a calling that it was just meant to happen, okay? Before I go down the thing, let me just share you something about my passion. Why am I known to be a little crazy? I'm passionate about this stuff. I'm a board-certified MSL, okay? Who knows here what the board-certified MSL is? Okay, I'm the doctor that Big Pharma hires to influence other doctors. I'm not a salesman. I influence them with medical research and science. I talk to key opinion leaders. I talk to doctors who make the decision of what's going to be written in the books, what's going to be our first choice of medicine, second choice of medicine. I even have there's on my phone itself, I have big doctor names on my phone. Their personal cell phone numbers are on here, right? And the reason why is because Big Pharma sends us doctors to go influence them. And then lo and behold, I was in a dilemma. I was like, I didn't become a doctor to profit off of people's suffering. I didn't become a doctor to just keep popping pills in their mouth and then, give them side effects and make them suffer even more. And lo and behold, that punk over there in the back, right, Andrew, he comes to me with this product. He's like, Samir, you're suffering, I've seen your health deteriorate, you're working hard all the time. Please give this product a chance. And it was like a godsend for me. It was like a godsend for me because when I did my research on the product, and for those of you who are still skeptical, God bless you, okay? God bless you if you're skeptical. When I went through the research, because that was a part of my job as an MSL, I need to know exactly what's going on. I need to know what research has been done. Is this proven? Is this not? What are the contraindications, side effects? Yada, yada. I need to know all of that. I was blown away by the research. I was blown away by the fact that the Cleveland Clinic backs it up. And the fact that when I was a doctor in Miami, I had a copy of the PDR, the Physician's Desk Reference, okay? And guess who gave it to me as a gift? Big Pharma. I didn't have to buy the book. The point is that after Andrew introduced me to the product, when I cracked open the PDR, and I saw that these products were listed in the PDR, there is no amount of research you can do on your own. Good luck, okay? It's listed in the PDR. You won't find Herbalife in there. You won't find Popeyes, even though I know the owner of the franchise of Popeyes. Right? The thing is that you won't find Popeyes, you won't find GNC in there. But you'll see these products listed there. And do you know why? Because they work. They're clinically backed with evidence. They're clinically backed with medical research. You don't get in there. You can't pay to get into the PDR. And I'm so glad I held on to that old copy of the PDR because it just proved to me that even years ago, these products were listed. But the problem was, as a doctor, nobody told me about the natural products that were listed there. I was always being pushed towards the pharmaceuticals. That was the thing. I was being brainwashed. I was being indoctrinated. Okay, let's keep going because I talk too much, don't I? Right? Okay. So eat every 2 to 3 hours to keep our metabolism up. Keep your metabolism up. If you keep revving the engine's going to burn out. You know? That doesn't keep your metabolism up. That actually decreases your metabolism because you are using up every single resource in your body to try and digest and get rid of that. Okay? Fat is bad. Fat is not bad. You're always said to us, oh, it leads to heart disease and will make you fat. You know what leads to heart disease? I'll tell you what leads to heart disease. Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance leads to heart disease, right? And you'll be surprised. I think there's a number of fat. You ever heard of Dr. Benjamin Bikman? Okay, right? Those of you who are on the team will have heard of him. But he's an amazing scientist, and I suggest you listen to some of his lectures and the way he backs our products, right? The fact that a metabolic scientist, a world-recognized metabolic scientist, he's famous. I mean, I was talking to one of my best friends who's a bariatric surgeon in India, who's also internationally recognized, by the way. And when I brought up Ben Bikman, when we were discussing the product, I was like, bro, you need to get your patients on the product. You don't have to do surgery anymore. He was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, Bikman backs it up. And he's like, no way. So for those of you who are skeptical, you're going up against a lot of big titans, okay? If you got the credentials to challenge the Cleveland Clinic, go right on ahead. Do you have the credentials to challenge Dr. Benjamin Bikman? Go right on ahead. Because even with my credentials, good catch, that's kung fu. Because even with my credentials, and my father was a published researcher, okay? So even with my father's teachings and even with my credentials, no, I'm not going to challenge the Cleveland Clinic. I'm not going to challenge Benjamin Bikman. I'm not going to challenge the PDR. Honest to God, you seriously need to get evaluated mentally if you have skepticism, right? And there's no other way to say this because, you know, there's no amount of Googling you can do. Because if you're skeptical, God bless you, you're always going to be skeptical, all right? Because the fact is that almost all chronic diseases stem from an unhealthy gut, okay? The beautiful thing is we can reverse it because when medical science and nutrition come together, where are the products? It brings us to these products, okay? All right, okay? And so anyways, let's go on to the next thing because I get really passionate and just keep talking. Okay, symptoms of insulin resistance. Do you know anyone who has acne, belly fat, skin tags? You know those things that you see sticking out of you, right? Acanthosis nigricans, okay? It just doesn't happen here. You can even get it in your armpits, okay? You can see it in a number of different places. These are symptoms of insulin resistance. They look quite common, but they're telling you, your body is talking to you. Remember when I talked about spirituality? The disconnect from your body is not allowing you to listen to your body. And your body is telling you something. Next slide. Okay, symptoms of insulin resistance. How many of you have cravings for sugar and salt? Put up your hands. Don't be shy. All right? How many of you feel constantly hungry? Put up your hands. Don't be shy. That's an addiction. You know that? And that's not an addiction that cannot be treated. That's also to do with insulin resistance. How many of you have high blood pressure or have high blood pressure? Okay. Get ready to kiss that goodbye. All right? How many of you guys have high cholesterol? And I mean bad cholesterol. How many? Is that it? Oh, come on, don't be shy, guys. Come on, right? Okay, ever heard of PCOS? Right? I remember a friend of mine telling me that she had PCOS, was not able to get pregnant. Okay? She's been on the system. She's pregnant. This is no joke. I mean, I talk too much, but it's no joke. All right? IBS and reflux, another friend of mine suffering from IBS. Went on the system, guess what? No longer has IBS. Okay? All right? How many of you out there have erectile dysfunction? All right. Don't be shy! Okay, quick note. One time I was in charge of the physician assistant department at an erectile dysfunction clinic. So if anyone knows penises, it's me. All right. My friends even used to joke around and call me the pop top. Okay. All right. All right. So erectile dysfunction, it's there. We all laugh at it, but it's a serious issue. And let me just quickly touch on this. Okay. There are several different causes for erectile dysfunction. I'm not talking about saddle injury, where they damage the nerves due to biking or horse riding. I'm not talking about Peyronie's disease, which is a structural deformity, right? I'm talking about the fact that erectile dysfunction, if you don't have those, and we've, evaluated other causes of erectile dysfunction, guess what it's pointing to? Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance, why? Did you know that erectile dysfunction, and I actually taught Big Pharma this when I was doing presentations for Big Pharma, I actually taught them this. Erectile dysfunction is an early marker for both diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction, seriously start getting yourself evaluated, get on the product, save your life and save your penis. Okay? All right? All right. Next slide. All right. So insulin resistance is at the core. So whether we're talking about obviously diabetes, low testosterone, osteoarthritis, PCOS, body fat, sarcopenia is a musculoskeletal disease, migraines, and certain forms of cancer, because oncology is a vast topic. The certain forms of cancer, yes, they are all related to insulin resistance. You're going to ask me about stroke. Why is stroke related to insulin resistance? You'd be surprised that when a lot of patients, who are pre-diabetic and diabetic, they end up damaging their blood vessels. And that's when we're talking about, I'm not talking about stroke where you have an infarct where you're blocking the vessels. I'm talking about blood vessel hemorrhagic strokes. Okay? All right. So we come back to metabolic flexibility. We need metabolic flexibility in our lives because when insulin is high, that's when glucose is used as a fuel. Glucose is being it's being used in different ways. It's being stored as fat. It's being sent to your muscles, right, to be used as energy. It's being used in the cells for different processes. But it's only when we bring insulin down that you actually start burning fat. So if you're constantly eating, your insulin's always going to be high. When are you going to burn the fat? Your body is using the food, which is giving it glucose to be used as energy. You're not allowing for your body to shift gears, right? And relax. Next slide. Oh, you got it already? I love you. Okay, right? Because we're constantly in this cycle of eat food. Body, pancreatic beta cells, they release insulin. Cells resist insulin. You know that friend of yours that you don't talk in a while, right? You don't talk to them for a while. And then they keep you on the phone for 2 hours, right? Great. It happened once in a while. What if that friend calls you every day? And they call you every 3 hours. Are you going to stop answering the phone? Yes or no? That's it? The rest of you would answer the phone? Wow, you guys are good friends. Would you answer the phone again? No. Same thing. You need time to relax from that friend. You need to decompress. Guess what? Your body also needs to decompress. It's coming. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, which way did we go? Nope. Okay, and so that's it for now. All right. I hope you enjoyed my talk. right? I am Dr. Samir Chauhan. I'm also known as Dr. C. I want to introduce my colleague, Phil San, a clinical nutritionist. She is absolutely amazing. The amount of medical talks that I've had with her, her knowledge is beyond words. Totally respectful.
Dr. Chauhan. Anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here. Like Rob said, somebody that cares about you invited you, so we do appreciate your time. And I love Dr. Chauhan and his passion and what he's seen in the medical industry. But we're gonna be short and sweet for my portion, and my colleague Sandeep will be right after me. Just quickly going to introduce myself and then I'll jump right into the information. My name is Philsan Ainab. I am a clinical nutritionist. I own and operate a nutritional clinic here in Toronto, Canada. I actually found these products 4 years ago during the pandemic. And the reason I actually took them is because 8 years ago, I tried the keto diet and it sent me to the hospital. Okay? So what I learned from that is a series of lessons, but not only that, I remember just constantly being confused, reaching out to medical doctors, going to physicians, healthcare professionals, and everyone's telling me your blood work is normal, you're fine, right? Maybe some of you have heard that before. So I got increasingly frustrated with the conventional healthcare system. And just like, what a normal person would do, I thought I had to put this into my own hands and I needed to figure it out. So I went on a journey to help heal myself. And as you guys can see, I am doing really, really well now, but what I've learned, I'm actually going to condense for you in the next 10 minutes. And just to be clear, when we, go on a health journey or when you try eating a certain food type, you're thinking, okay, I'm making a change towards my health. For me, it did the opposite. Now, what that means is that all of these things that we hear nowadays, fad diets, meal replacements, whatever the new health trend is, should not be something that we just blindly listen to and go forward. Why? Because the same thing that works for me, it's not the same thing that's going to work for you. It's not the same thing that's going to work for you. It's not the same thing that's going to work for you, right? We are individual beings and we need to understand that just by addressing the root cause, we will allow our bodies to actually do what they do naturally. And so I tried these products during the pandemic, had incredible results. I always tell my clinical clients now to actually document their journeys. I wish I had, but I didn't. But I was introduced to these products by a emergency nurse at Toronto General Hospital, who also happens to be my best friend. And she actually did document her journey, unlike me. If you look at the next slide, we were both able to lose about 40 pounds. As you guys can see, that's her before and that's her after. Now, if you guys remember, everyone was eating really good during the pandemic and everybody had a wheat belly. Everybody was recipe testing, baking. I know a lot of people who became banana bread connoisseurs, right? You guys remember? And sounds about right? Yeah. Sourdough, there you go. A lot of people became sourdough bread specialists. And what is all that? It's just carbs, guys. And again, we're sitting at home, social distancing. You weren't. Oh, Dr. John, no, I don't know. Oh, you do? Okay. You guys can hear me fine? Yep.
Scratchy.
How about now?
Still, it's a connection.
Okay, here, let me trade with Sandeep, just because I don't want to hurt you guys here. Guys are millennial like me. Do you guys remember the Lizzie McGuire movie? This is what I feel like when I wear this. Hey now, hey now. Pop star dreams, everyone knows. Anyways, okay, this sounds better, right? Okay, beautiful. All right, so took these products, had incredible results. For us, we actually just took it because we wanted some gut health balancing. The weight just started to come off, the gyms weren't open, there was social distancing. We had really great results. But what started to happen after that is people saw the changes within ourselves, and my mom actually got really curious. My mom started the products. Within 90 days, she was able to come off cholesterol and high blood pressure medication that she was on for over 13 years. Her physician, who's actually been her physician since she's immigrated to this country, was actually completely flabbergasted. He said, had I not known you and been your physician for the last 30 years,
I wouldn't actually believe your medical paperwork. It doesn't make sense. So right then, a light bulb went off in my head, right? As a clinician, not only that, but as a daughter, it was something that just lit me up. And so started delving into the research of this product, implemented it into my clinic 2 years ago. And since then, we are the most successful clinic in Toronto to have the most successful reversals of diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. I would not be able to do that was it not for this product. So in a span of 2 years, I was able to do something that I was trying to do in the last 8 years. Not only that, what that did create for me as a small business, who just like many businesses was suffering through the pandemic, everyone around me, their doors were shutting down, right? I didn't have an influx of cash. You know, my business, just like everybody else, was drowning because we weren't able to stay open. But after the pandemic, implementing this protocol into my clinic not only created the value of compliance rates going up, referrals going up, all of our patients, and I had cardiologists, nephrologists, neurologists calling me, like, what are you doing in your clinic? And I'm like, you're the medical doctor. This isn't a PDR. You're supposed to be telling me what I'm doing, right? So I've had the pleasure of re-educating a lot of medical doctors, and we love medical doctors, right? We just need to stop medicating lifestyle and nutrition diseases because there's no need for medication. And so by doing that, we have not only been able to help thousands of people, both online and in person, but it's completely changed the financial structure of my family as it is. As Rav told you guys, my mom has been a school bus driver for over 20 years with the Toronto District School Bus. She was waiting until she retired, 65, right? Everyone knows the biggest scam in the world, 9 to 5 until you're 65, right? So she was waiting to retire, and she started this product, got incredible results, and just simply by sharing it, honestly started with the neighbors. She's been able to create a business today, just sharing these products and creating education and awareness around them, that in her 60s, she's now making over $40,000 a month, right? And so this is a woman who's an immigrant to this country. English is not her first language. She's not on social media, but she's been able to do that, right? Because you can look at someone like me. I was born and raised here. I don't deny that I'm privileged, right? I was born and raised here. I speak English. I have a university degree. I have multiple degrees, but I have all the options that my mother gave to me in order for me to be successful in this world, right? And so you can look at someone like me, great, yes, I've been able to build a really successful business just under 2 years that I'm revenuing over $100,000 a month per month, but that doesn't mean that I'm anybody special. I'm a nutritionist, yes, great, but people from all walks of life are in here, people making anywhere between 10, 20, 30, 50 plus $1,000 a month. And Sandy, who's actually a retired ICU nurse, I think that's so cool that she's in her 30s and she's a retired nurse, So to even think about that means that there's something really important and a great opportunity here. But I always say that the business is only rock solid because the product is rock solid. Guys, I would not be here if this product did not speak for itself. Medical doctors, nutritionists, nurses, we go through extensive schooling, right? We have certifications, we have governing bodies, we have regulatory boards. We're not just going to speak on something if we don't have full conviction in it. And so I love Dr. Chauhan in terms of his honesty, and he's so raw, Dr. Midge and Sandy, but we're going to give you guys that information. And I hope you can walk away with this, if not educated, understanding that there is a tool. It's always been around. It's been around for over longer than I've been alive, actually. So it's nothing new. But just like you, I was here in the beginning because I was just curious why don't more people know about this. So we're going to get into the products, but before that, I just want to give you guys a little bit of information on how we got here. Okay? Now, this is an article that came out with the agenda, and they're calling it, and they were calling it, even during the pandemic, the Great Nutrient Collapse, okay? What does that mean? The foods that we are eating today are not the foods that our parents were eating, and they're definitely not the foods that our grandparents were eating. Food is more depleted, food is less nutritious, there's no vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. I would argue that essentially by the time that we get our food and it makes it to our plate, the nutritional profile is so low that we're not eating real food anymore, okay? If you look at statistics, 80% of our food system is actually ultra processed, okay? And that includes our fruits and vegetables. As you can see, carrots used to look like roots, okay? Potatoes Potatoes just seem to get bigger and bigger. Sometimes they're the half of my head, but they used to be the size of chickpeas, guys. You can hold an entire stack of potatoes in your one pot, okay? Apples used to look like that. Our food in terms of our poultry and fish is no exception. Fish looks like that when it's wild. However, this is the fish, like, be honest, when you guys think of salmon, you think of this pink and marbled salmon, right? You go to Costco, you get that nice fillet, you're like, oh, $19.99, it's on sale, great, I can feed the whole family, right? Well, not to gross you guys out, but this is how fish are raised now. They're in these encampments, they're fed corn and chicken feces. That's not what fish eat. But guess what? Then they're caught, slaughtered, sliced, put in the grocery store, and then guess who eats it? We do. Okay? Chickens used to look like that. They're 5 times the size now. Grains used to look like this, a whole grain. After the processing, you get white flour, which is what is in conventional carbohydrates. But what's being stripped from these grains? You have the bran, the middlings, the germ oil, all the things that would balance your intestines, clean out your arteries, things that keep you fuller for longer, sustain your energy. Guess what? All of that is being picked out. What is this? It's fiber. Okay? And so if food is meant to be bigger, sweeter, right? Keeps you craving for more with less fiber, guess what? You pick up that food if it's big, and God didn't make it big, man made it big, right? Because it's genetically modified. Now, if you take it to the or you go to the actual grocery store cashier and they weigh your food, right? But guess what? If that food weighs more, you pay more, right? So that's the objective here, right? Big food has not come out and said, hey, we want everybody, the population, to have a quality of life, and we want you guys to have really great, big, juicy strawberries. That strawberry did not come from the earth or grow from the ground like that, right? If it weighs more, you pay more, okay? And so going back to all of that, because in my nutrition practice, people used to come to me and I used to create these elaborate nutrition and diet plans and meal plans. I'll tell you what, people ended up just putting it in the garbage, right? Or they don't follow through. Why? Because even that food is not the same anymore. Okay, even if they try, a lot of people don't have the option of buying organic. And so nutrition actually starts in the soil. So let's go back to the origin, right? If it's as easy as you need to eat healthy, or you need to shop local, or if it's as easy as try to eat as many unprocessed foods as possible, well, this is our soil, the soil that our fruits and vegetables come from. Soil in the 1900s used to look like this. All right, you see all of these abbreviations? These are minerals, right? Food is supposed to have multivitamins, multi-minerals, multi-nutrients built in. Now, you look at our soil now, and this is what it looks like. Do you guys see the stark difference? That's crazy. So, as you can imagine, that food is less nutritious, has less minerals, has less phytonutrients. It is quite literally not the same, but it looks the same, right? Next slide, please. So who's doing this? These incredible conglomerates known as Big Food and Big Pharma. Okay? Now, Big Food alone controls $3.3 trillion. They control every single thing that we put in our mouths. I'm talking restaurants, I'm talking personal care products, but the same 11 companies capture this entire $3.3 trillion industry. Some of them may look familiar to you. Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Kellogg's, Danone. A lot of people give their kids Danone yogurt, right? Mars. These are some of the richest families in the world. And again, their shareholders and their investors and their board of directors are not sitting around figuring out how to make us more healthy. They're figuring out how to keep us sick so they can make more money. All right? And so, next slide, please. I'm going to end with just a little bit of information. We all understand where Big Food is headed right now. We all agree? All right. So, as a nutritionist, I'm not interested in going against a $3.3 trillion industry. It's not worth my time. I'm also little old me. $3.3 trillion industry is not what I am deciding to do with my time. What I, as a nutritionist, can do is I can give the tools back and the autonomy and the power back to the person who's sitting across from me because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Me telling them to go into the food industry or like many medical doctors do, oh, go eat, get on a diet, go exercise. That's not a solution, right? Most people don't know how to read a nutrition label. Go into the grocery store. Be honest, how many of you can actually go into a grocery store and look at the nutrition facts and understand what's on there? Most of us can't, right? Now, if you have medical professionals, nurses, nutritionists, people who are actually trained in either exercise science, nutrition science, food psychology, and even us as human beings aren't able to go up against this, I promise you, other people are just, they're left for, right, the wolves, let's be honest. So how do we actually support ourselves? How? We do that with tools, right? Because I'm more interested in giving a person, an individual, a light at the end of the tunnel, but not just that, something simple, something sustainable. During the pandemic, I didn't have the capacity to go and do this entire thing. I'm somebody who suffers with anxiety. My anxiety started creeping up during the pandemic, right? So in terms of a capacity, most people are busy, right? We have time restriction. Some people are parents, students, full-time workers. You don't have time to think about how you're going to beat big pharma and big food for the rest of your life, right? And so what these tools have done, not only in my clinic, but for my family, for myself, for many of you who are actually in this room, is empower them with tools that they can then implement into their lives that are simple, they taste great, they actually address the root cause, and not only that, they're able to seamlessly integrate into their life. Because how long are we going to be eating food, guys? Forever, right? And so the reason why it's so important and what I want to share with you guys, and I'll end with this, is that we need supplements. In today's modern world, if you think that you are going to get everything you need just by eating healthy, it's not possible because our food is no longer the same. And so we need supplements, but not just any supplements. We need high quality supplements because you don't just put anything into your body. This is a machine. It knows exactly what it needs to do, but you need to provide it with the right tools. And so natural alternatives to medication, especially at post-pandemic, are more important and more relevant than ever, right? I remember there's people, nobody knew what vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C or zinc was before the pandemic, but now people do, let's be honest, right? Nutrient absorption declines as we age. So that's also very important, right? Take that into consideration. You cannot, even if you're having the best food, your absorption rate in terms of what is actually going into your body declines as we age, all right? So again, higher quality, higher nutrients are necessary. There's poor nutrient quality in our food. We already know that, we just spoke about it. But the other thing that people don't actually recognize is that stress actually causes nutritional deficiencies. So you can have the best diet in the world, but if you have any physical, emotional, psychological stress, that's going to affect your nutrient absorption. You can have the best diet in the world, but if you're stressed, your body's not using those nutrients correctly. And supplements are necessary in this climate, but not just that, there's a diversity that's very, very important. I don't believe in a single supplement or a single mineral. That's not going to do anything for you. You need formulations. Supplements, just like human beings, support one another, right? You ever heard if you want to go somewhere, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together? Everything in life works like that. Supplements need to be used in combination, in conjunction, in formulation together because they support one another, right? If you just had, a heart, wouldn't do anything. All of these organs work in conjunction. Our hormones all work in conjunction, right? It's a symphony, like Dr. Chauhan said. And so the diversity in that gut microbiome supports your gut. Hippocrates, right? We're in 2024. Hippocrates, which is considered the father of nutrition, said that all disease and health starts in the gut. As long as you are addressing the root cause, which is in your gut, you are creating an environment for health. And when you do that, you have an increase in good bacteria, And as long as you have good bacteria and it's stronger than your bacteria, your immune system, which is quite literally your defense system, is made stronger. Okay? So I'm gonna leave you guys just really quickly before I introduce Sandy with a protocol. If you guys see the date, it's January 30th, 2022. And the individual's name up here is Mohammed Aina. This is my dad. He has been a diabetic for as long as I've been alive. Has been on metformin, taking 2 capsules every single day, and he's very diligent about his medicine. Using these products, I'll actually go back to this 2022 because I found these products April 2022. He just completed this protocol. His blood sugars didn't come down significantly, right? He followed it to a T. But again, just like my clients, the compliancy and the results that you want to see as a nutritionist or even as somebody who's loved one, I didn't see them. But what did he do? He followed. This is what I was taught traditionally in school. This is a protocol that a nutritionist, a clinical nutritionist is going to give you. As you can see, 6 different supplements, 1 teaspoon with water on an empty stomach, half a teaspoon with lunch, this before dinner. This gets lost in translation because what happens? Life happens. You have a really long day, you just want a pizza, you forgot your supplement, you know? And it's like, I'm gonna start on Monday, right? And that's what happens to most people. But what I've been able to do is January 30th, 2022, saw this when he completed the protocol in April 22. I actually put him on the Fieldgrid system and the 2 products that we're about to share with you guys. And my dad, who's been a 30+ year type 2 diabetic, within 6 months, his doctor called me in. I thought I was being called, like, it felt like being called to the principal's office. And he's like, I need you to come back with your daughter. And I did, and I walked in and he goes, I don't understand this, right? And so at this point, I had seen enough reversals. I had case studies. I'm like, dude, you're the doctor. Why don't you know about this, right? And I continue to have these conversations and I love them because it's not that we're gluttonous. It's not that we overeat. It's not that we're lazy. It's not that we can't just get it right or every Monday becomes next Monday. It's our environment is not set up for success. And so these tools are the only thing I was able to implement. And we went from giving him protocols like this to protocol like this, right? Now, as an individual, which one's more easier? The one I just showed you guys or this one? This one, right? He wakes up in the morning, he has a Unimate, has another Unimate with his lunch, and he has a balance with his dinner. And we're going to explain to you guys what these products do, but this protocol is the only thing that I use in my clinic right now. I've completely thrown out every single thing. I've had 8-year relationships with natural supplement companies, and I'm like, I've never seen results like this before. Thousands and thousands of testimonials from strangers, people I've never met before. But in my clinic, just the compliancy and the other person that shows up in the other side of that table to you, and you're just like, this is quite literally, I had a small part in changing the quality of life for that person. And that is priceless to me, all right? So we're gonna go into the products. Sandy, who is actually going to be sharing the products with you guys, along with, you know, look at some of these testimonials, guys. Everything from IBS to sleep apnea to antidepressant medication coming off of it, saving money on groceries, 25 pounds, A1C from 11.5 to 6.5, quite literally reversing diabetes, anti-aging, right? We have some incredible stories. Just a raise of hands, I've seen a few familiar faces. Who in here has used these products and has completely changed your life? Right? These are real people, guys. Real humans, right? And so Sandy is actually going to go through these 2 products with you guys. We're going to give you guys information, but as a clinician, I love that these products are also science-based, so we're going to share that information with you as well. Sandy and her family have had incredible results, both in health and wealth for this business. She was a ICU nurse, just like Kavak saw the worst of the worst during the pandemic, but was able to not only change her health and her family's health, but has gone to actually save more people than she could have ever had as a nurse in an ICU hospital. So I think it's really cool that finding these products and being able to, you know, start making more money than some of the doctors in the hospital. She's now left the hospital and is helping people both online and in person with these products. And she's going to go through these with you. And by the end of this, I'm sure you guys will have all of your questions answered. So thank you so much for your time. And let's have have a round of applause for them. Thank you, Filsan. So before I start, I want to say a little something about Filsan. I've known her for 2 years. And when I met Filsan, the first thing I noticed is she is one of the most positive people you'll ever meet in your life. And not just that, I've got to learn so much from her. She's helped thousands of people with the product, and there's a reason why she's the #1 clinic in Toronto right now, Ontario right now. Give yourself a round of applause too, because what time is it? 8:30 on a Tuesday evening. You guys are here because of your health. That's step #1. Most people don't even take this step. So congratulations to all of you guys that are still here right now. Okay? My story actually started with my parents. So my mom during COVID got diagnosed with diabetes. At that time, I was working in the ICU, 7 months pregnant. She told me about these products, and I said no. My mindset was listen to whatever the doctor tells you to do. For an entire year, mom sent us videos of people sharing their stories on TikTok about this product, and we constantly ignored it. And then one day, Brad was on live, and mom shared the live with us. So me and my sister were watching the live, and I was like, the stuff this guy is saying actually makes sense. What is this? So mom and dad got on the product. So first it was mom. Within the week, we started noticing mom started feeling better. The inflammation in her arm started going away, the pain started coming down, but it wasn't until 3 months where I came over to the good side. 3 months on the product, we did mom's blood work, and her A1C, meaning her diabetes, was completely gone. No diet plan, no medication. She did it all with these 2 products. After that, we made dad a guinea pig. Dad, for the past 16 years, has been taking cholesterol meds. 4.5 months on the product, cholesterol completely normal, right? Me and all the siblings got on it. I lost 50 pounds. My husband lost 30 pounds. My sister lost 20 pounds. Her acne is completely gone. So our entire family transformed our health with these 2 products. So we're going to get into them. And at the end, we'll take any questions. So the first product is the Unamate. So the Unamate is made up of a yerba mate plant. Anybody heard of yerba mate before? So it's actually a plant that's only available in South America. They've been drinking it for centuries there because of its health benefits, right? And yerba mate actually has every single nutrient in it to sustain life. So you can live off of it if you had to, right? But what it also does is it helps control your sugar levels. It helps control blood pressure, it reduces inflammation, and it allows your body to burn fat for fuel. So what actually intrigued me about the products is how many of us have heard of Ozempic? Doctors love prescribing it. The Kardashians love it, right? So how Ozempic works is it actually mimics a hormone called GLP-1. Once GLP-1 goes up, your body starts to control its hunger, you start burning fat, and you start controlling your sugar levels. Now, if you search yerba mate does the exact same thing naturally. So imagine how big of a dent we can put on the market if we help people with a natural product that's doing exactly what a drug that in billions of sales has been doing, right? So we actually even did a study because we are science-based. So we did a study where we gave a group of people Unamate while fasting. And we noticed a 70% increase in their GLP-1 levels. I think I'm gone. Is my voice loud enough? Can I do it louder? Yeah, okay. Okay. So there was an increase in 70% increase in their GLP-1 level. That's huge, right? So that's the Unamate. Can we go to the next slide? Let's go into the balance. So the balance, which is this one, is actually 7 different types of fiber. So it's not just a fiber supplement. It's actually a matrix. And the way it's designed, it actually controls your sugar and your insulin levels and your cholesterol levels. So how many people thought balance was Metamucil? Really?
I was the only one? I thought it was Metamucil, right? And we're actually wrong because Metamucil is only one type of fiber. So we're actually gonna do an experiment. We're gonna show you what the difference between Metamucil and Balance is, okay? So we're gonna mix it in front of you guys, and I want you guys to see the difference. So we're gonna mix Metamucil first, and I want you guys to pay attention to the sound that it makes while we're blending. So when you mix Metamucil, it sounds very watery, right? Okay. Now, let's mix Balance. And it's gone. And the reason it's gone is because Balance is already thickening up while you're blending it, whereas Metamucil just stays watery. So I actually mixed before, that's been sitting here for about 20 minutes now, but I want you guys to notice the difference. So when you look at Metamucil, and so imagine this container is your stomach. Now you've had your Metamucil. Nothing is happening, so there's no coating happening on the container. What does that mean? That means the Metamucil is just sitting in your gut. You want it to coat your stomach because there's trillions of microbiome that needs fiber for food. And that's all around in your stomach. So you're not giving that. And then if you look at the Balance and you spin that around, the entire container is coated. So imagine your stomach getting coated with fiber. Okay, so your microbiome needs that as well. But now when you eat carbohydrates, what's gonna happen? So imagine you eat carbs. You dip it into the Metamucil, it all drips off, right? So nothing is getting coated. Now, if you dip the cracker into Balance, the entire cracker is coated. And that coating is important. Coating is important because when you eat carbs, that fiber is what controls the sugar spike. You want it to coat your carbohydrates. And that's what's going to control your sugar. And like Samir talked about, it's going to control your insulin levels as well. Okay, and a lot of people will tell me, why don't we just eat fibrous foods to get our fiber in for the day. But if you look at the Balance, you're getting 7 different types of fibers without the extra carb load, without the extra calories. Okay, want to go next? Okay, so we actually did another study where we gave a bunch of people 2 waffles, 2 tablespoons of syrup, and 10 ounces of orange juice. How many of us have this during breakfast? You know what's funny? Most kids. We actually give this to patients in the hospital as their meal, and nursing homes. This is their meal, full of sugar. So we gave people this meal, gave them a Balance before they took it, and their glucose response reduced by 43%. So almost half. That's huge, right? For a diabetic who takes insulin based on their sugar levels, and if it goes down by half, imagine the dose they can reduce after using the Balance. Okay, next slide. And not just us. So we're a science-based company. We do our research, but also there's a lot of third-party companies, hospitals, and universities that do research on our product as well. So Cleveland Clinic is the #1 heart hospital in the world. For the past 29 years, they topped in cardiology and heart surgery. And they actually did the study on the Balance. They gave it to a group of people, tested what they ate, tested their blood work, and even tested their stool. And this is the results they came out with. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. So your cholesterol meds. So that's coming from the top hospital in the world. Okay, so we are Health Canada approved. If you look at the box, there's an NPN number on there that's given to us by Health Canada. Also, the company gives a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if 90 days you don't see any result, you get a full refund. Even our medications don't do that, right? So, and even more than that, the company allows you to purchase an A1C test. Do A1C before you start the products, and then 3 months later, no change in your A1C, you get a full refund. Guys, it's a no-brainer, right? Okay, so we do all of our manufacturing ourselves, for 2 reasons. One, we know we'll never play around with the quality of our products, and number 2, nobody can copy our products. They're completely yours, okay? Products are super simple to use. Like Phil Son said, you wake up in the morning, you take your Unimate, hot or cold, doesn't matter, however you like it. Then with lunch, you wanna take another Unimate, and then with balance, you wanna take that before your meal. So Unimate tastes like a lemon tea, like a Nestle. The balance is like a orange creamsicle, so it tastes good as well. Now, the goal of this system is to be simple, because if things are simple, you're gonna stay consistent. And if you're consistent, you're gonna get results, right? And it costs the average individual about $6 a day. So less than a Starbucks coffee, right? So affordable for most individuals as well. Okay, and so we're gonna do questions at the end. We'll break into questions, but I'm actually gonna give it back to Rab. And before I give it to him, I actually wanna introduce him because of him, it changed our life and our family's life. So if it wasn't for him, I would still be doing my 12-hour shifts, be away from my son, not be able to build a business with my husband. And so with these products, not have I only helped my family with their health issues, but we've helped thousands of people at the same time. I used to be giving meds to people, but now people are messaging me and saying they're getting off of their medications. If it wasn't for you, Raf, and if you didn't give up, you know, we wouldn't be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys sticking around, and we're gonna wrap up real quick. So you guys, I started off the meeting talking about, do you see a potential of 1% of the market that needs this product? Yes or no? Yes? Right? I mean, you can't be the only ones. There's millions of people that need this product, but does 1% know about it? No. So what we've done is we've created a system to where we can all grow, because we're not all doctors, Chauhan. I mean, we don't have, I'm not, what was it, MLS, MLC, whatever, right, whatever. I'm not an elemental key, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a nurse. So how did I go on to build this business? What we did is we came up with a 3-step system. See, at the end of the day, the whole way to build something massive, it's gotta be duplicable. Think Uber, think Amazon, think Airbnb. Why did they grow so fast? So big? Duplication. That's the key. And so what we did is we created a simple system, a 3-step system where you can invite people to events. We have Zoom calls like this. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. there's another Zoom call. It's a 45-minute Zoom call, which is done by Manveer, who's there in the black suit. Happy birthday, by the way. Manveer has had several people build a business that paid him thousands of dollars. And it is, how old you turn? 29? 29 years old, making, $50,000 a month with the business. That's incredible. I mean, that's huge. His wife was a dentist, left dentistry. They're both full-time in the business. So they're doing a meeting tomorrow. And if you can invite people to the meeting tomorrow, they get to learn about it. Thursday, we have another one. Friday, we have another one. These are on Zoom. And then once in a while, we have these ones. The next healthcare professional seminar, would you be interested in bringing people to this? Yes. And the next one we're doing is on August 27th. So August 27th, we'll have another one. And guys, we're taking over the 3rd floor. It's currently under construction because we're getting so big. So, and we'll have AC there and everything. So it'll be good. But with that being said, what I want to do is I want to break down the 3 steps. And actually, I want to give credit to the individual who came up with this. So real quick, the guy who's going to teach you the 3 steps is someone that's been a really good friend of mine. In fact, I was part of his group squad. We've been really good friends for 10 plus years. However, 10 years ago, he looked like this. And he was 80 pounds overweight, high cholesterol, low energy. And I heard about these products like you heard. I saw what it did for my family. I wanted to build a business. So naturally, who do you go after to team up with? Your most successful friend, the richest friend you know. He's the one at 21 years old, bought a Bentley, 22 years old, bought a Rolls Royce. In the real estate business, he's earned tens of millions of dollars in commissions, done really, really well. So, and naturally, I call him up, plus he's overweight, And I'm like, hey, look, I got a product that can help you, but we could build a business together. And he used to tell me, no, bro, I'm not interested. I'm not gonna sell a fiber. Because he used to think like it's selling door to door like Avon or something like that. And he thought that's what I'm doing. He didn't understand duplication. And so anyways, long story short, we went our separate ways. And in 2022, I approached him again. And I actually wanted to buy a commercial building, like a building like this. And we sat down and I was like, I don't want that headache. I'll stick to this business. But I approached him, and at that time, his yearly income, becoming one of the top agents in the city, was my monthly income. Told you so is the best feeling, by the way. It is. But not just that. It was literally, you guys ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? Remember when Jonah Hill is sitting with Leonardo DiCaprio, they made $70,000 last month? Show me the commission, I'm quitting my job right now. That's literally what happened, where he's like, wait, you are earning this money with this product that I've been using for 10 years myself. And I said, yes. And he just asked me a simple question. How many, because I build my business mostly in the US. We have our partners here from Germany. MP is a medical doctor, reversed her high blood pressure, lost how much weight on the phone?
20 pounds.
20 pounds. So they're here from Germany. I built my business in Germany. UK, we got Chris. Chris is down 130 pounds off 14 medications. Jamie is down 30 pounds. 50 pounds off with all his diabetes medications, but not just that. Jamie, how much you earned this month in the business? This month? 80,000 pounds. That's 130,000 Canadian in 1 month. He completely retired his family, but he used to be a train driver 2 years ago. Chris started the business. How much you making this?
15,000 Canadian.
15,000 Canadian a month. So I built my business mostly in other markets because of social media. So when I went back to Bikram, he asked me a simple question. How many people in Ontario are using the product? I said, bro, there's only 300 probably. I said, done. This is real estate 2008 all over again. Timing. If we can be the first movers in this market, we can A, change a lot of lives, but 2, build a lot of wealth. And what took me 7 years to do, he did in 41 days. What took me 9 years to do, he did in 16 months. And not just that, because of his decision, this room is packed today. We have this office. The Toronto market is on fire. So look, here's the thing I'm gonna do before I call him and he shows the 3 steps. We've created a system that's allowing the team to win. But when a guy can kill it in one industry, you might say, yeah, he got lucky. But when he comes in a completely different industry and kills it again, is it luck twice? Real estate, health, and wellness, completely different industries. So guys, I would take notes on exactly what he's created, the 3 steps to create the system, and watch how we're going to light up this market and hit the 1% mission. Vikram?
Thank you to all the speakers that took the time out to talk about this. I'm gonna need a quick marker here. There we go. Okay, it's almost 9 o'clock, guys. All right, so I'm gonna break it down to some very simple steps, but these are the exact same steps that we use to scale this business in a very short amount of time. So let's break it down. 3 simple steps, guys. Okay, so step number 1 is set up your digital franchise. Now, how do you set up a digital franchise? The product cost, you guys have roughly seen, we kind of spoke about it. The product costs less than a coffee a day. So on a monthly subscription, you're paying about $190 a month. That's what the product costs. To set up a digital franchise, it's $18.49. Now, what that comes with, it actually comes with 10 packs of the product. And why that's important is because you need to use the product yourself. I truly believe if you want to build anything, if you want to grow it, you got to believe in it. And as you believe in it, you're going to notice the difference it makes for yourself, and people around you are going to start to notice. But not only that, it comes with your website. Does somebody want to bring it up? Who's controlling this? So it comes with your website when people order the product directly from the website. It's directly built to their house. I'm going to be honest. If this was a business where I had to buy 1,000 boxes a month and actually never out myself, I wouldn't be doing it. The reason why I love it is because everything is done and automated for you. All the stuff that we wouldn't want to do, the company handles. So your website is set up, and now we talk about Ontario, but it's not just Ontario. But, it's in 62 different countries. So you can build an international business, but we're going to focus on Ontario. Also, it comes with all of the training My writing's not the best, but you guys can hear me. It comes with all the training that you need to learn on how to build this business, a step-by-step approach from this office, from Zoom, from our online platform. And on top of that, guys, it comes with mentorship. And why this is important is because you're able to learn the skills, the mindset, the skill set that you need to actually grow this business. And that's all for 1849. I'm gonna get into the steps, but when you guys are hearing what I'm saying, you know, the reason why we got involved right away, why we're able to grow, because if you look at it, where can you find a business anywhere that you could start for less than $2,000? You can't find one, and if you do, let me know. So step number 2, how do you actually start making money with this? And you guys are hearing these numbers, 10,000, 80,000, you know, Rob's making over $1 million a month. To be honest, when I found out, I didn't believe it, so I just said, open up a bank account. That's just my personality. When I realized he was making that much of this product that I've been using for 10 years, I said, show me what you did, right? So we built it in the US and different markets, but we started growing this in the Ontario market simply because of one reason. We knew that people needed the product, but people don't know about the product. If you could connect that, it's a huge business. But before I get into the customer side, every time somebody buys the product,